And joining us for more on last night's presidential debate is Christine Jennings, the chairwoman of the Sarasota County Democratic Party, Joe Gruters, the chairman of the Republican Party of Sarasota County and Donald Trump's Florida campaign co-chair, and Zach Anderson, the politics reporter for the Sarasota Herald-Tribune. Thanks for being here. You know, I'm really curious how this is all playing here on the Southern Coast in Sarasota in Manatee County, and the impact of the last 4 days. It's really been kind of amazing. And last night was actually surreal. We have a little bit of video that we want to show because Mr. Trump did apologize once again for what was recorded on video from 10 years ago. But he also brought in some of the women who had earlier accused President Clinton of sexual assault. And it really made for a surreal environment at the debate. And I want to go first to how Donald Trump talked about that videotape and President Clinton during the debate.
This was locker room talk. I'm not proud of it. I apologize to my family. I apologize to the American people. Certainly, I'm not proud of it. If you look at Bill Clinton, far worse, minor words, and his was action. His was what he's done to women. There's never been anybody in the history of politics in this nation that's been so abusive to women.
Christine, I'm going to start with you because, I mean, we all lived through the 90s and we saw what happened. And was it legitimate to bring that up?
No, I do not think it was. And the reason I don't think it was is Bill Clinton is not running for president. That should not even need to be said. And Trump's apology was not a heartfelt apology at all. He had a couple of words there, and then he scooted trying to bring someone else down. The man showed no class and no real shame. So no, I do not think it was appropriate at all.
Joe, you're in a unique position because you're not only the local party chair, you are the Trump co-chair for the state of Florida, and I know that you continue to back him, but I'm looking at a list of prominent Florida Republicans who are denouncing Donald Trump's comments, from Governor Rick Scott, who said that he doesn't know why anybody would say things like that. Marco Rubio is maintaining his support for Trump, but says it's impossible to justify. Congressman Vern Buchanan is calling Trump's comments abhorrent and unacceptable. And Congressman Tom Rooney is pulling his support. In fact, he said that his greatest responsibility in life is to try and be a good husband and father. If I support him for president, I will be telling my boys that it's okay to treat women like objects. You have a couple of boys at home. Why don't you feel the same way?
Well, I'll tell you, first off, the Clintons have definitely shown that they want to make this whole race about personal, vicious attacks. And I don't think Donald Trump is going to sit there and let them continue on with this Clinton hypocrisy. You know, he brought those women, you know, to the debate yesterday to really showcase them and give them a voice, because they've been silenced by the media, by the Clinton machine.
Okay. But why can't, or how can you support what this man said about women, as Congressman Rooney said that he can't explain that to his two young boys?
His comments were inappropriate, but what Donald Trump did is he claimed it. He owned them. He said he did it. He said it, and then he apologized. And the question is, you may not accept his apology, but he apologized and he moved on. It's basic locker room banter. And the problem is the media and everybody else wants to shine the light on this issue, but they refuse to look at all the things that Hillary Clinton has done, and she's failed to apologize. Benghazi, Iran, the email scandal. You never hear any apologies from Hillary Clinton or her team on anything. At least Donald Trump owned up to it, and he accepted it, and he apologized.
Zach, does this change any votes here on the Sun Coast?
Well, Donald Trump is very strong in Southwest Florida. He performed even better here than he did statewide, and he beat Marco Rubio in the GOP primary pretty handily. So I think he has a strong base here. There are a lot of moderate Republicans and independents, especially in North Sarasota County, who might look at Trump a little bit differently. I know that there was a lot of them, though, that were skeptical of Trump anyway, so I'm not sure how many votes that he loses, but it's definitely something that I think could change the race.
But isn't that the problem? Because Trump was losing before this whole thing happened, and to win, he has to expand beyond his diehard base and get moderate Republican women primarily and independents to vote for him, and this does not exactly help.
And I think last night he proved it. I think he set out his vision for America. I think he, unlike Hillary Clinton, 76% of Americans think the country is heading in the wrong direction. Hillary Clinton, for them, for anybody who wants to vote for Hillary Clinton is essentially saying we're settling, we want the status quo. If people want to change, if they're nervous about security, all these Syrian refugees, 550% increase that Hillary Clinton said that she wants to bring into America. She's also refused to say, Islamic terror, Muslim Islamic terrorism, along with going with that 550% increase, that she does not want to do anything other than the status quo, and Donald Trump's going to change.
I want to give Christine the last word in this segment.
Well, I can tell you, being a female and having experienced this before in my life, and there are more women voters in this state and in this country, and women do not like it. I can tell you that men are absolutely upset, and that locker room talk, Joe, that is a cheap shot, because the sportsmen are coming out and they've all been talking all day saying that is not what happens in our locker rooms.
We have to take,
so that's cheap.
We have to take just a pause here, and we will be back in just a moment. Welcome back. We are discussing last night's presidential debate with our roundtable. Our guests include Christine Jennings, the chairwoman of the Sarasota County Democratic Party, Joe Gruters, the chairman of the Republican Party of Sarasota County, and Donald Trump's Florida campaign co-chair, and Zach Anderson, the politics reporter for the Sarasota Herald Tribune. Before we dip back into the debate, let's talk about where we stand right now. There is one national poll that came out today that shows that Hillary Clinton has jumped out to an 11-point lead. We have not seen a Florida poll since the videotape issue came up on Friday. But Zach, the question to you is, at what point would falling poll numbers start to impact down ballot races here on the Suncoast?
Yeah, it's hard to say, but I think, you're looking at across the nation, places where Clinton is leading by 4, 5, 6 percentage points. You're starting to see Republican Senate candidates divorce themselves from Donald Trump. Right now, the polls before this last debate showed Clinton up by maybe 1 or 2 percentage points after Trump's kind of poor performance in the first debate. My sense is that he could slide a little bit more. Right now, somebody like Marco Rubio is sticking with him, so he obviously thinks that he has something to gain by staying with Trump instead of jumping ship at this point, that he doesn't think Trump is going to drag him down. But if it gets to 5, 6, 7, 8 percentage points that Clinton is leading, you could really start to see some alarm bells in the GOP.
Could it flip state house, state senate races?
Some people do, yeah. Early on in the campaign, people really thought that if Trump tanked, that it could hurt Republicans down ballot in some of these state house and senate races, especially in places like Miami, where you have Hispanic heavy districts where Trump might not do as well. So yeah, I think there are some concerns that if he really starts to dive in the polls, and nobody knows what's going to happen right now, but that could happen.
Joe, what's your reaction to Speaker Ryan today, who basically announced he is jumping off the Trump train?
Well, I think there's so much more at stake than just Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. We have the Supreme Court. We have the security of our entire
what's your reaction
country.
To Speaker Ryan?
Well, it's what I'm answering. I think there's so much more at stake, and I think these guys are making a mistake. Donald Trump is going to be our next president. He's going to win this race. There's been no candidate in modern history that's gotten more second chances than Donald Trump, all the way from the primary to the general. People want change. People don't want the status quo. And if you're one of the 76% of the people that want change, then Donald Trump's your guy. You don't want the same thing with Hillary Clinton. He's the guy who's going to bring back American jobs. He's the only guy that's going to be able to go up to D.C., not be part of the establishment and part of and go up and do the exact same thing that we've seen from both parties. He's going to be the champion of middle America, and he will win on November 8th.
Christy and I could jump on our viewer comments right after the show, and the majority of people who write in will agree with Joe.
They may be the ones to write in, but I'm going to tell you Sarasota County voters absolutely will not overwhelmingly go for Trump. And the reason they won't is the intellect here is too great, And Donald Trump has shown himself too many times, and there is no way that the Democrats, Republicans, and Independents in Sarasota County want someone of his character in the White House and as leader of the free nation. There is no way.
Let me just let's move on a little bit in terms of talking about last night's debate, because what happened on Friday really kind of just capped off a not really great week for Donald Trump. First, it became the leaking of some of his tax returns, which showed that he may have not paid federal income tax for the last 20 years. He addressed that issue in the debate last night in response to Anderson Cooper, and let's take a look at that.
Did you use that $916 million loss to avoid paying personal federal income taxes?
Of course I do. Of course I do. And so do all of her donors, or most of her donors.
Okay, so he's really kind of fighting this front on at least two different areas. Christine, you know, this is a community where a lot of people are affluent. They've been in the business world, in corporations, and they do understand that a lot of the times people do write off operating losses.
You know, that is not the question, though. The question in this race is character. And the people in this community, and we know so many of them, almost everyone you know here has good character. They absolutely do not mind paying their fair share of taxes. And for Joe, for you to talk this way, that he's going to be this incredible president, you're insulting the voters of Sarasota County. You really are. They're watching you, and you're making a fool of yourself, talking about how great he's going to be as president when this man is a disaster. It is an embarrassment for our country to the whole rest of the world that this man is even running.
What's an embarrassment is the Clintons and the Clinton hypocrisy and what they've done to our country ever since Bill Clinton's been president. Hillary Clinton was a disaster, from Iran to Benghazi. Talk is cheap. She's actually done bad things to our country as a result of her leadership. You know, it's Donald Trump, you said it right. We have a lot of intellect, a lot of people with character in Sarasota. I'm willing to bet you today, whatever you want, that Donald Trump will win Sarasota County. I think he's going to be our next president. He is a man of great character. He greatly respects all the women in his life, his wife, his daughters, he's promoted tons.
Don't go too far
He's
here.
Promoted tons of, he actually has more women executives than men in his office. The
Joe,
guy's done an incredible job.
Hold on a second, because obviously Nancy O'Dell, the host of Entertainment Tonight, doesn't really think that Mr. Trump respected her.
Well, I don't have no idea what he did with the Entertainment Tonight host.
He says he did.
What did he say?
He said that he moved on her, and that, repeatedly, and that she rebuffed him, but that she was married at the time.
I don't believe it. I think what you...
He was just making that up?
I think what you're seeing is an assault on Donald Trump like we've never seen before, because what you have is you have the establishment, you have the globalists, you have the media. There's a lot to lose. There's a lot at stake. There's a lot of people that will lose money, because if Donald Trump wins this race, he's going to reform the system. He's going to go up to D.C. There's going to be real changes coming. He's going to protect American jobs. He's going to do what's right for the American public, and he's going to be a champion of middle America.
Right,
so yes, I think a lot of people are coming out to try to take him out now because they feel so threatened about who he is.
Let's show another highlight or lowlight from the debate, and this is Hillary Clinton talking about her emails and Donald Trump's response to that.
We turned over 35,000, so
Oh, yeah.
it was...
What about the other 15,000?
Please allow her to respond. She didn't talk while you talked.
Yes, that's true, I didn't.
Because you
I
have
didn't
nothing
in
to
the
say.
first debate, and I'm going to try not to in this debate, because I'd like to get to the questions that the people have brought here tonight to talk to us about.
And get off this question.
Okay, Donald, I know you're into big diversion tonight, anything to avoid talking about your campaign and the way it's exploding and the way Republicans are leaving you.
Zach, what impact is this going to have on voters on the Suncoast? Do you suspect that some of them are just going to throw their hands up in the air and just not even go out and vote?
I think there is some of that. You know, you hear some people say that, you know, that this has just gotten so toxic, so negative that, you know, they're just backing off of the political process altogether. And it'll be interesting to see. I mean, usually when you have lower voter turnout, that hurts Democrats. Usually the low propensity voters are the ones that tend to favor Democrats, but I think there's some Republicans that are kind of concerned about Trump who might not show up at the polls either. So low turnout, it's unclear who that hurts this election.
I think we were hoping, or every 4 years we do hope, that there will be debates between the presidential candidates that help at least some people who are undecided make their decisions. When it comes to these debates, are people just reverting to their predispositions? I mean, is Trump or Hillary adding to their base by how these debates are going, Joe?
I think Donald Trump laid out the case last night. I think he's clearly showed Hillary Clinton for what she is, and that's going to be the status quo. If you're going to vote for Hillary Clinton, you think the status quo is okay, and you're going to be settling.
All right.
Donald Trump is presenting a real vision to Americans out there, and I think he accomplished that last night.
30 seconds left. Christine.
Well, I think it is really tragic and sad that you are trying to defend Donald Trump, because the people of this country have known Hillary Clinton for years and years and years. And when she was the senator, she got reelected. When she went, she was the most admired woman in the world when she was the Secretary of State. So you're talking about someone that has a track record that is not as bad as you want to
Of an
make it.
enabler.
We just have to take a break right now. Welcome back. It was an explosive second debate between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Our guests join us now with their final thoughts. I'm wondering about the impacts of this race on our local politics. We're seeing debates all around at the Tiger Bay Club and elsewhere. Not as many as we'd like to see on TV. What's holding these campaigns back, Christine?
Well, I was hoping to ask Joe that, because we cannot get Moran, and we cannot get Stubbe, and we cannot get Alex Mueller to debate with us. And I don't understand it, because I have absolutely no understanding of why they will not debate, and I'd like for you to tell us this.
Well, all I could say is you got to talk to the individual campaigns. You know, as a party chairman, we don't control what individual campaigns do. I will tell you, the Democrats, I'm running for the state house. I have a Democrat opponent. You guys have not approached me about a debate, but I'd be happy to debate my opponent anywhere, anytime. That being said, I think, the Republican Party is strong in Sarasota, and we're strong in Southwest Florida. We do run somewhat as a team, all the way from the top of the ticket, all the way down to Hospital Board and Charter Review Board. We have a great Get Out the Vote campaign, and I think that overall, we're even stronger now today than we were 4 weeks ago.
Zach,
and so as a result, we're going to win.
Are we.
Zach, what is the political calculation in terms of, because we're seeing the presidential debates, we're not seeing as many local debates.
Well, for debates, I think, as in any race, a lot of times you just have to see if it's in your benefit. If you think you're leading, sometimes people will avoid debates because, you really can only be a downside. You slip up and something happens and it becomes a big issue in your campaign. In terms of Trump being a factor in local races, Trump has been a factor in local races since the beginning. There was a state Senate primary, a Republican state Senate primary, where one of the candidates kind of got tripped up here locally with her response to Trump. I think he will continue to be a factor, and as this goes down to the stretch and it becomes more unpredictable and seems more aggressive, I think there'll be other things that come out. They're already talking about other potential videos and tapes like that, and the candidates will have to respond to that. So there is a dynamic going down the stretch where he will be involved in local races.
And we'll have to leave it there. I want to thank all of you for joining us. But before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers are saying about Friday's show. Sidewalk improvements in Manatee County's Talavas neighborhood is unearthing some concerns about water and soil contamination. The community is adjacent to a former beryllium plant, which was finally demolished last year. In 2005, it was revealed that the facility had toxic contaminants in the area. Manatee County and the Department of Environmental Protection say the current construction is being carefully monitored and won't affect residents' health. But here's what some of you are saying. Kelly O'Malley writes, "It is sad. All these people in the wrong have one person to answer to one day. He will not be so forgiving about ruining human lives and health conditions." And Cheryl Lumsden-Joyza writes, "No one has done a damn thing to help. They all work in cahoots with each other. Trust me, we have a governor that is just convinced his cronies to allow more crap in the water. Why? Because it's easier than trying to clean it up. If you'd like to join the conversation about tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/news7. I want to thank all our guests for being here tonight. Christine Jennings is the chairwoman of the Sarasota County Democratic Party. Joe Gruters is the chairman of the Republican Party of Sarasota. He also serves as co-chair for Donald Trump's Florida campaign. And Zach Anderson is politics reporter for the Sarasota Herald Tribune. When we return, we'll have the last check on weather plus an update on what is making news at this hour.